Chapter 11. A Dangerous Road. L. Lily saw Pior help Lyram with breakfast, assist two families in fetching water from nearby wells, and prepare the day's hay with the stable boys, all before returning to the inn to help prepare and serve lunch. Meanwhile, Fina had spent the hours between meals in the sun, muttering curses about Haldor and Ghalen between bouts of translating her parchments. "Just wait here. Wait for what? For you to be thrown in a dungeon," she muttered with a frown, eyes skimming the faded ink. Lily looked up as she saw Lyram approaching, two guards in tow, leading a prisoner. Fina stood, brushing off her robes. "I'll just fetch something inside," she said, slipping away. Lily pulled up the hood of her cloak and lowered her gaze to the grass, hoping Lyram wouldn't notice the markings beneath her eyes. He stepped beside her. She peeked up to see him standing with arms crossed, watching the prisoner being led away. When he caught her looking, she turned her face away again. "Not much of conversation, are you?" he said, glancing down at her. She cleared her throat. "Not spent much time out of the woods. Never had to interact with humans much." She regretted the lie the moment it left her lips, realizing she knew too little about Gwelhir to make it convincing. Lyram chuckled. "I went to the woods once when I was a boy. I can understand feeling out of place. If that's all you've known. That's strange." He hesitated, then coughed. "Pardon me. Peculiar forest, I meant to say." Eager to change the subject, Lily nodded toward the prisoner. "Forgive me, Master Lyram. The man in chains. Who was he?" Lyram's smile faded into a frown. He shook his head. "A known bandit, that one. Caused no end of trouble. There's a bounty on his head. Odd business, though. They found him knocked out in the village. Seems someone decided to take the king's justice into their own hands." He gave a low laugh, folding his hands over his stomach. "Not that you'll hear me complain. Whatever happens to him, I'd say he earned it. Swears a mad assassin attacked him. Raving nonsense. Still, I'd advise the ladies to take care on the road. There's plenty more like him out there." He moved on, following after the guards. Lily turned back to see Fina had returned, seated again and smiling to herself as she pored over her parchments. Nelorith had spent the morning studying maps, redrawing the changes the villagers described from the war and rethinking their route. She was nearly finished when two riders emerged from the hill leading to the town. Ghalen and Haldor had returned. With the pair back in their tattered clothing, the party bid the innkeeper farewell and set off down the hill. After only a few minutes, Fina rode up beside Ghalen. "I thought you were going to Hyfara," she asked. He looked distressed and halted the group. Haldor and Ghalen began recounting what happened in Quarry Mill. Lily watched as the expressions of those around her shifted from questioning to disheartened. Fina sighed. "Those damn snakes. So you can't return then. But you can't come with us either. It's too dangerous."
"And where exactly should I go that would be any safer?"
Ghalen asked.
"I'll keep him safe,"
Haldor said, his hand tightening on the hilt of his sword.
"I swear it."
Lily's heart ached for the others, knowing their home had been taken from them, and at the same time, she felt a small comfort in knowing that Ghalen wasn't leaving them. By midday, the wind stirred the grass as they rode, the occasional gust their only reprieve from Nelorith's chatter. Her voice drowned out any other attempt at conversation. Her laughter, high and bright like wind chimes in the gale, punctuated the rhythmic beating of hooves. Fina fidgeted with her reins, casting glances toward the horizon as if seeking escape. Haldor shifted uncomfortably in his saddle, his silence mirroring Galen's watchful quiet. Only Pior met each of Nelorith's questions with a patient smile and a well-turned response.
"Yes, I moved to Hyfara with my old nan when I was young. My parents remained in Ilskar and, sadly, perished in the war. Tessara's mother, she was my jewel, but the sickness that struck the kingdom took both her and Galen's mother."
Lily felt lonely in a sea of chatter. She listened to Nelorith's tales, her gaze flitting between the animated half-elf and the others who seemed adrift in the wake of her words. For reasons unspoken, the ranger never directed any attention toward Lily. Did Ghalen tell her to keep away from me? She wondered as she bobbed in the saddle. The sun dipped below the horizon, giving the sky a pink hue, and the riders started slumping in their saddles, horses snorting contently. Another good day. I commend your spirits, Narrated said, the vast plains giving way to dense forests. She pointed toward a grove of trees nestled amongst some hills. There, she exclaimed, her voice alight with excitement. The perfect campsite, just like the one by the waterfall. Her words trailed off, lost in the anticipation of another night spent beneath the treetops. And as they dismounted at the forest edge, nightfall spread a cool blanket over them. At the campfire, the rhythmic crackling synced with the muted rustle of the woods around. Lily felt more at ease here, in nature's embrace, than she had within city walls. Her past, or at least the memories she had created with the humans, had been spent under the stars in the woods. As a group dispersed to attend to nightly routines, Pyre and Haldor vanished into the woods, either patrolling or gathering wood for the fire. Fina found a secluded spot for her prayers, and Ghalen, always wanting to be alone at night, left for the end of the woods to brood like a child, or at least that is what Fina had told her he was doing. A hush settled around the fire as Lily found herself alone with Narrated. The flames danced across the ranger's cascading hair, making it seem woven from the fire itself. Narrated hummed a soft, wandering melody. Lily felt the change before she saw it, the feeling of being watched, then the usual glint in Narrated's eyes were gone. Narrated's gaze flicked around the clearing. When she confirmed they were alone, the tune she hummed faltered, then twisted into something slower, almost mournful. Her bright smile melted away, replaced by a look so sharp and focused it made Lily's heart to skip a beat. Lily sat frozen, every instinct telling her to move, to run, but she couldn't. Narrated spoke at last, her voice flowing like water over stone. Eagle, custa clavion in corde silverium, lumina solai servlios. The words meant nothing to Lily, but they pressed down on her chest all the same. She forced herself to her feet, desperate to break whatever had just settled between them. I'm sorry, Narrated, she stammered. I didn't understand. Was that elvish? The ranger blinked, as quickly as a storm passing over the sea. The strange intensity drained from her face. She gave a soft laugh, brushing her hair behind one ear. Indeed, my lady. It was elvish, the tongue of my people, she said lightly, as if the moment had never happened. Just an old poem, nothing of note. She rose with effortless grace, resuming her patrol of the camp, her earlier tune weaving back into the night air, but Lily's skin prickled long after the fire had reclaimed its warmth. She tried to make sense of what had just happened. The fire had taken on an unpleasant sour smell as the smoke poured at her. She got up and went to find Fina. Following a small path through the woods, she saw Fina bowed in prayer. Not wanting to interrupt, she watched, feeling warmer just being close to her. Without turning, Fina said, "Did you feel lonely back there, Lily?" Her voice, calm and familiar, eased the tightness in Lily's chest. Fina rose from the stone where she had been sitting, brushing off her cloak. "Did you need something? You look startled." Lily glanced around, making sure they were away from prying ears, then stepped closer and lowering her voice. "I was alone with Narrated. She behaved oddly. I can't quite explain it. She spoke to me in Elvish. It felt strange somehow." Fina chuckled softly. "Is it really so strange for an elf to speak Elvish to another elf? Perhaps she was just trying to jog your memory." You're not wrong," Lily admitted, fidgeting with the hem of her sleeve. She struggled to put the feeling into words. "But when I say she was strange, I don't just mean what she said. She looked serious, for once." Fina tilted her head and pinched her chin thoughtfully. "So the strange elf was serious." "I know how it sounds," Lily said, the words coming out more defeated than she intended. Fina smiled faintly. "Narrated is a puzzle, no doubt about it, but if Ghalen trusts her, we should too, until we have a reason not to." Lily nodded, but doubt still nagged at the edge of her mind. "You look tired, Lily. How do you feel?" Fina asked, her voice softening again. Lily felt her breath growing more labored as she gazed up at the sky. "It feels worse with each passing day. Whenever the sun goes down, the wound starts to hurt again." She gently squeezed Fina's shoulder. "It'll be better in the morning. Should we head back?" Retracing the narrow path Fina had taken, Lily stopped abruptly when she heard a twig snap. "Did you hear that?" Lily asked. "No," Fina replied, looking at her puzzled. "There were voices," Lily added. Fina called out, "Are you out here spying on us? Haldor? Pyre?" Her smile faltered. She stepped closer to Lily and murmured in a hurried whisper, "If I tell you to run, run." Lily barely had the time to process Fina's words before torchlight rounded a bend, nearly blinding them. Two men emerged from the darkness, and to Lily's horror, they were not their friends. Fina let out a startled yelp while Lily stood frozen. One of the men held the torch. His face was marred by a scar, and one milky, lifeless eye stared at them. A sword hung at his side. He sneered. "Well, Kirch, seems we've stumbled upon two maidens lost in the dark." Clicking his tongue, he pointed a finger at them. "Best keep quiet now. Don't want the others hearing. Trust me, we're the gentle ones. If the rest of the crew comes, you'll likely get hurt." Fina's eyes flicked toward the dark tree line, her body tensing as if measuring the distance to unseen threats. The second man, griping a crude club, grinned wickedly, revealing several missing teeth. "Agreed, Rob. Perhaps we should escort them to safety," he said, licking his lips. Fina raised an arm protectively between Lily and the two brutes. Lily caught the tension in her stance, the flicker of calculation in her eyes. There was no fear, only careful consideration, weighing the odds and realizing they were outnumbered. "Leave us be. The king's peace governs these lands, and under its protection, we are free to pass," Fina declared firmly. The two men exchanged glances before bursting into mocking laughter that echoed in the stillness. "The king's peace!" Rob scoffed. "Let's see if that protects you, little lady." He lunged forward, reaching for Fina. Lily tensed, her fist clenched and ready, but Fina turned to her and whispered urgently, "Run while I distract them. You must warn the others. No debate. Go!" Without waiting for a reply, Fina turned back and charged, tackling one of the bandits as she shouted, "Run!" Lily sprinted toward the camp, her jaw clenched, breath coming in sharp bursts. Her fist tightened at her sides. Running felt like surrender, but she did not want to defy Fina's command. Lily's feet barely touched the ground as she fled. Her heart raced. She prayed they would not harm Fina. Her foot caught on a protruding rock and she slammed against someone. Lifting her gaze, her heart soared with relief. It was Haldor, his sword already unsheathed and stained with fresh blood. Stammering, she began, They've taken... Haldor hushed her, placing a finger against his lips, gesturing for her to stay low and head back to camp. She nodded. Haldor crept back along the path Lily had fled from. As Kirch emerged from the brush, he must have thought he spotted a girl's silhouette as he called, "Nowhere to run now, little lady." Lily could only imagine his surprise when he found a man with a drawn blade waiting. "So, the lady had a protector." She heard Kirch's sneering, the moonlight hinting at his malicious grin. "Perhaps a deal is in order. I'm not fond of bloodshed. We could offer more coins for her than whatever price your employer promised you to guard her." Haldor's face remained unchanged, his blade gleaming.
"I'm here to enforce the king's justice,"
he intoned with a wavering resolve.
"I hope you've made peace with your god."
Kirch's smirk faltered as he unsheathed a wicked dagger, gripping a club in his other hand. "Your loss," he growled, lunging forward. Haldor didn't flinch. As Kirch charged, Haldor sidestepped with effortless grace, his sword flashing in a precise arc. The club fell from Kirch's hand, his fingers suddenly limp, severed cleanly at the knuckles. The bandit let out a guttural scream, clutching his maimed hand, but Haldor didn't give him a moment to recover. His blade struck again, carving through Kirch's dagger hand before he could raise it in defense. The weapon clattered uselessly to the ground, followed by a strangled cry as Kirch staggered backwards, his bloodied stumps trembling in disbelief. Haldor advanced, his steps measured, unhurried. Desperation overtook Kirch's eyes as he stumbled and fell onto his back. "Wait, mercy!" he gasped, scrambling away on his elbows. "We'll leave, I swear! Please!" Haldor's expression remained impassive as he stepped closer, his shadow swallowing Kirch. He brought his blade crashing down onto the man's temple with brutal efficiency. Gasping for breath, Fina struggled against the man's grip, her throat raw from hissing out curses. "Quiet now," he snarled. A whirlwind of terror and anger consumed her. "Why didn't I bring the dagger?" she cursed. "Or my runes? I've killed brutes twice his size. Light blind him." Fina struggled, but she could not move. She stopped trying to break free and instead tried to find peace. As she ceased kicking, Rob patted her head. Good. It would be a lot easier if you cooperate." Fina felt the warmth of Lumiere fill her. She channeled a burst of power, causing a burn on the man's arm. He dropped her to the ground for just a moment. The strain was immense, sending pain lancing through her arm. Tears streamed from her eyes, but the magic had its desired effect. "Damned witch! What did you do?" Fina sprinted back toward the camp, her breath ragged and her heart pounding. Rob roared behind her. "I'll kill you for that trick, witch!" But as they both rounded the corner, an enormous hand suddenly wrapped around his throat. The torch fell from his grasp, illuminating the scene. Towering above him was a large figure. Fina crouched behind the giant. Fina slammed her eyes shut. Pyor's grip intensified, a sickening crack echoing as the bandit's throat gave way. The gurgling sputtered into a wet silence. When they returned to the camp, safely escorted by the 2 king's guards, they found Ghalen and Nelrith already methodically cleaning their weapons. Their heavy breaths hinted at recent extortion. Ghalen exhaled a deep breath.
Haldor, what happened?
Haldor straightened.
5 are dead. 2 made a grab for Lily and Fina. We found their horses, indicating 3 unaccounted for.
Ghalen nodded.
That adds up. 1 tried to ambush me, and Nelireth dispatched 2 others who aimed to plunder our camp. Bold for bandits to stay and fight, but they must have heavily underestimated us. I guess the war has made them less cautious.
L. Lily watched as Ghalen handed out orders, swift and decisive. Collect the fallen and release the horses to the wild. Nelrith ventured into the darkness to scout their surroundings. Pyor and Haldor took shift standing guard, while the others sought what little rest could be had after such a night. She was restless in her blankets and got up to join Pyor, who stood watch. He glanced at her with quiet concern.
You should try to sleep, Lily. You'll need your strength tomorrow.
She lingered beside him, staring into the dark expanse of the forest. Crossing her arms, she let out a frustrated breath. I should have fought, Pyor. I let them take Fina. Pyor cut her off.
It's over now, Lily. And I swear to you, as I swore to Ghalen, I will protect all of you with my life, until our mission is over.
Lily dropped onto a nearby log, pulling her knees up and resting her arms on them. What if I can't protect you? Even if I get my memories back, what then? Her voice was quiet, edged with doubt.
You'll do the best you can, and that's all anyone can ask of you.
Pyor said firmly. She muttered, Too gentle, just like she said. Raising an eyebrow, he asked,
What was that?
Nothing important, just something I remembered. She mumbled as sleep crept over her, her head dipping forward in exhaustion. Before sunrise, Nelrith was already at work, crouched beside a spread of maps on the cold earth. The closest route to their destination followed the great merchant road that skirted dangerously close to the Elgaric border before entering the woodland gap. Despite the obvious risks, a detour would cost them too much time, so with uneasy expressions, they moved forward in the dark of the morning. As the sun began to rise, revealing parts of the vast fields they had traversed in darkness, plumes of smoke became visible on the horizon. Is that Elgaric? Lily asked, her head down. Pyor answered with a grim expression.
Us close to the border, where the attack fell hardest.
The signs of battle were evident. Pikes staked in the ground, discarded rubble from old campsites. Reports had indicated no current skirmishes at the border, but conditions could change quickly, Nelrith had said.
Keep your heads down and move quietly. If we're lucky, we'll reach the mountain pass by sundown.
Ghalen said, a hint of worry in his voice. Lily felt an eerie sensation of being watched, but the only living things on the field were ravens, feasting on those who had perished in the previous battle. Depending on where you set your eyes, the scene provided completely different pictures. vast patches of dried mud, remnants of armies that had turned everything they passed into nothing but muddy stretches. Yet, surrounding this desolation were green fields and enclaves in full bloom. As the horses trudged along, stirring dust with each hoof, Lily's gaze drew to the edge of the battlefield. Her thoughts were so intense, she felt as if she were standing there in the flesh, watching herself in the distance. Wearing black armor, her blade drawn, plunging it into fallen men when a sharp pain from her wound snapped her back to the present. "Lily, are you okay?" "Ghalen, we must find a place to rest. She is not well," Fina shouted as Lily winced. Lily struggled to stay in the saddle. Sweat poured down her temple, yet she felt cold. So very cold. The power of the death magic bubbled just beneath the surface, as if it were calling to her, as if she could grasp it, if only she reached for it. Ghalen turned to the ranger, his face taut with concern.
Nellyreth, are there any safe places nearby?
"There's an enclave a few minutes' ride to the southeast. It'll take us slightly off course, but the plains are treacherous. I don't want us staying here for long. I don't trust the creatures that linger," she said, casting a wary glance toward the border.
"So be it,"
Ghalen replied, reining in his mount. Lily saw the rising sun in the distance. It shimmered like water before a thirsty man in the desert. As the warm rays touched her arms, the pressure in her chest eased. She took a deep breath, steadied herself, and tightened her grip on the reins. "I'm fine. I can go on," she croaked, spurring her horse forward. The rest of the party exchanged uneasy glances. She was in no condition to ride, yet they could not afford the delay, so they followed. After what felt to her like an eternity of having the mountain wall on one side and the vast grassy plains of Arania on the other, they reached a small clearing of trees. Sweat poured down her face, and she felt dizzy. Behind them, the sun was sinking. Lily fell from her horse in exhaustion, but Pyre caught her just in time. Haldor laid out blankets for her to rest on. She felt Fina's hand move gently over her, starting at her forehead. As Fina's hand hovered over Lily's chest, her breathing grew less strained. The warmth of her sweat faded, replaced by a deep chill that made her teeth chatter. Fina crushed some herbs, her practiced hands working swiftly as she instructed Haldor to build a fire for the Masam leaf tea. The bitter scent curled into the cool mountain air, mingling with damp stone and grass. The ritualistic brew restored Lily, clearing her mind. Fina came in close. "Are you all right, Lily? You look afraid." Lily struggled with what to say. She had never confessed her fears to Fina before, but she had to say something. "The fevers," she began. "The pain. There's always something else. I can still feel the power of the Death General. It's in me. It's like it wants me to use it, but it scares me. What if it takes me again? Makes me a slave?" Fina placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "I would never let that happen, and you know that. We'll get you to that gate, and if Lumar wills it, your memories will return and we'll fix this." She gave Lily's shoulder a reassuring squeeze before getting up. Sitting up and stretching her fingers, she took in her surroundings. Beyond the small enclave, the vast openness of Arania still stretched unbroken, but on the other side of the grove, where there had been only sheer mountain walls, a jagged scar marred the rock. A passage stood there, as if some titan had carved it with a colossal blade. The opening yawned, dark and unwelcoming, the path beyond twisting out of sight, concealing whatever lay on the other side. Lily felt uneasy looking into the path. She pointed. "What is in there?" "Well, here." Nellyreth stretched lazily, rolling her shoulders as she gazed at the break in the stone. She swayed slightly, humming a tune under her breath, low, almost playful. It had no clear melody, just a string of odd notes that made Fina glance at her with annoyance. "The horses won't be of much use from here on," Nellyreth announced between hums. "The path is too narrow, too treacherous." She tapped a finger against her cheek, as if mulling something over. "It's best if we let them go."
"Let them go?"
Haldor asked. "Let them go," Nellyreth repeated with a smile. Fina released her mare with little hesitation, giving it a quick pat before turning away. Lily, however, hesitated. She ran her fingers through Alara's dark mane, feeling the warmth beneath her palm, the steady breath of the horse she had learned to trust. "You taught me well," she murmured, pressing her forehead lightly to Ilara's. The horse huffed, ears flicking back as if sensing her reluctance. "Go on now." Ilara lingered for a moment longer before turning and trotting off into the wild, disappearing between the trees. Narrated sighed dramatically. "Heartfelt goodbyes," she mused before continuing her tune. Lily shot her a glare, but Narrated had already turned, stepping lightly toward the passage ahead, her movements fluid, like a dancer navigating uneven terrain. "If she's strong enough, we should get moving," Narrated said. The group gathered their things, and Lily cast one last look toward the green plains of Arania. A strange feeling settled over her, a quiet certainty that she might never see them again. One by one, they stepped from the safety of the grove and into the dark embrace of the mountain. Haldor eyed the sheer rock walls on either side and muttered,
"A few good archers above us could hold off a legion here."
Narrated didn't even look back. "Oh, they could, Master Haldor," she said breezily. "But they wouldn't need to." Fina frowned. "Why?" But Narrated only chuckled and said nothing. As they pressed forward, the cold stone walls closed in around them, swallowing them into the passage. The air grew heavy. They could not see where the path led, only that it wound onward, unseen.